All right, so thank you for joining us today. The first question is, tell us a little about yourself, kind of your background, and how you came to find out about Interactive Metronome.
Oh, yeah. Hello, my name is Amaya Echeverria. I was born and raised in Mexico City and recently moved to Guadalajara 8 years ago with my family. I have been married for 26 years and I have three amazing sons, 24, 23, and 20 years old. I studied a master in education, neurocognition, and learning and worked in the academic area, designing and supervising programs for teachers. However, one of my kids showed unusual behavioral patterns since he was around 3 years old. So since then, I started reading, taking courses, going to different specialists, and trying diets, medicines, therapies, and all kinds of things. When I moved to Guadalajara, I was invited to start the IM project, and since day one, I got involved and interested in it. On one side, I had all this theory background, books, courses, etc. And on the other hand, the necessity of trying to help my son, especially on his self-control. So he was my first patient. And then I started IM with my oldest son and my husband, who we thought had ADD. So I noticed the first benefits with them and then with myself. And since then, I have been learning about IM and I declare myself as an IM fan.
So I know you talked about starting Interactive Metronome with your family, but then how long have you been utilizing IM in your practice? And describe a little bit of who you are utilizing Interactive Metronome with, so your client population.
I have been utilizing IM since 2017. My population is varied, and I can proudly tell you that my youngest little person I have trained was 3 years old, and the oldest was 93 years old for Parkinson. Overall, around 70% of my users are kids from 6 to 12 years old, and the rest are primarily teenagers and young adults.
Now you are an Interactive Metronome affiliate for Mexico, and Interactive Metronome, we love working with you. So from that point in using it in your own practice, what made you want to expand IM in Mexico as an affiliate with Interactive Metronome?
I started receiving mails and calls from different parts of Mexico from persons recommended by users in Guadalajara, or they found out in the internet, in the Instagram. It was satisfying to know that people from other states were interested, but I also felt worried because I could not be everywhere, and I cannot duplicate what I do as if it was a franchise because it is a very delicate and very special service. You're dealing with a person's expectations, emotions, and many other factors. I asked for IM's permission if we could help other therapists, educators, psychologists, doctors to use the IM in their practice, help more and more people all around Mexico. And most importantly, so they would not have to depend on me to do it.
Can you tell us, why do you think Interactive Metronome is essential for your clients? So in essence, why and how does the program work for them?
I think IM is essential because it addresses the most common mental health issues we are currently facing today. Our brains haven't quite adapted to how fast technology and our lifestyles are changing, which is causing feelings of anxiety, lack of focus, and trouble with self-control mainly in all ages. And that's where IM comes in. It helps improve these exact areas.
So then how do you integrate Interactive Metronome into your current treatment sessions or treatment programs?
Well, my clinic is primarily focused on helping to improve academic achievement as well as social and emotional behavior. I offer IM as the first step to solving these issues. My users perform partial or complete training segments depending on whether the goal is behavior or academic. For example, If users come in needing help with average emotional or attentional problems or motor skills, then the IM training is usually enough to resolve their issues. However, if we need to go deeper with reinforcement of cognitive abilities, we start with IM and then do cognitive exercises after. We have noticed that these exercises are much more effective and the students' progress is faster if they have already reached a certain level of timing and auto-control with their IM training.
How do you assess the progress then and the overall success of your clients in using IM?
Well, I use the long-form assessment provided by IM. This 14 exercises assessment before they start, then at the middle of the training, and then at the end of the 30 sessions approx. So this is a very objective and easy way to show the student and his parents about his process and his change in numbers. And they love to see the first long form and then the middle long form. And then at this time, they begin noticing small progress, but sometimes by now, they're really happy and excited about how they feel and how they behave. On the daily training, all results of each one of the exercises, I like to write them down on paper, the task average of each exercise, so they can see it and can get excited or frustrated sometimes about their progress. It is so helpful to see with your own eyes and compare your own numbers because you can focus on your effort. And there is always something in which there is improvement. If it's not your task average, it is your bursts, your movements, or that you could stand still without talking, without complaining. So I always focus on positive progress. There is always a positive outcome if you look really close, and I write it down. Another effective activity that the students of all ages love is when I highlight their task average when they get to their real goal. For example, if it is a student 16 years or older and aims to get to 22 milliseconds, I write a big 22 on his session registry, and each time he gets to 22 milliseconds or better, I write down the number and mark it so it is very easy to see your tendency in timing. So they see timings in that day or in previous sessions. So they love to see their progress.
Are there any specific overall goals? I know you talked about cognition, but are there any specific goals or outcomes that you're hoping to achieve with your clients that use IM?
I could say that the outcome is to obtain a precise and adequate motor response to the metronome. That is, in general, what we do.
Okay.
In particular, this simple result represents so many goals and outcomes. For example, a specific goal for the average cases I mentioned before is achieving self-control, and we specify if it is bodily control, mental control, attentional control. Other specific goals can be things such as lowering anxiety levels, reading without distractions, remembering what was read, bladder control, impulsivity, anger control, fine motor skills, auditory processing, and so many others.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So do you have a specific story that you could tell us of a client who has benefited? Maybe some pre and post assessment information to help others realize what could be achieved with this program.
This 9-year-old girl came for severe attentional and hyperactivity issues, and her timing at the beginning, her total unadjusted timing was 192 milliseconds. And she could not follow the metronome. So at the beginning, we worked with few repetitions in many exercises, letting her move, talk, and rest sometimes. As she began improving and got into average timing around session 12 or 13, her parents came to see her progress and told us about her improvements at the moment. For example, at home, she could sit at the table with them during the whole meal. She listened. She could communicate and talk with them without interrupting the conversations. She was less lousy and more reflective. They were amazed when in a beach trip, she tried for the first time in her life to surf, when before she didn't even want to swim in the sea. And she did not only try, but excelled at it. So this was a big step for her. The moments when you notice yourself and you say, I can do it. At the end of her training, they had a Disney trip and were profoundly impressed that she could stand in line without tantrums or complaining, just waiting. And since she was always afraid of everything and didn't like to try new things, they thought she was going to avoid all attractions. She got into all of the attractions, and best of all, she enjoyed every minute of the trip, and of course her family as well. On the motor control area, she could be able to play volleyball with her dad finally, catch the ball, hit the ball back, and all. She ended her training with an average timing of 31 milliseconds, which was expected for her age.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. So what are your clients? How do they feel about the program? What kind of feedback do you get from them? How do they like it? Have they told you how it's helped them?
After the third long form, we asked them about this, how they feel, how they like it. But we see it in all the sessions. We see this in all sessions. We see how they are happy to come. They're not like bored. They always want to know what's going to happen this session, what's going to be new, what's the new exercise, what's the new game. Or the video game they're going to watch. So at the end of the third long form, we ask how they feel about their improvement. What I found amazing is that they very often report impacts in other areas that were not expected. For example, some people come for anxiety or attention problems, and when they finish, they say they're amazing drivers. They lost their fear of talking in public. They perceive life differently. They begin for first time in their lives to organize their room. They're less aggressive. And some users say they feel as if they are on a movie, seeing life problems passing by, and are shocked that they are less preoccupied and worried. When they should be feeling anxious, they feel like very calm. Other common feedback is my grades are improving. Now I understand what the teacher says. I can follow instructions, I'm more responsive in sports, and so on.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. We're glad that we have you as an IM provider and our affiliate in Mexico. Thank you.
Thank you.